good evening, everyone. I want to make an apology real quick because so about 5 hours. Oh no, Tony, we may not have a song. Although the ladies did get to hear me sing SpongeBob. So I my internet broke about 5 hours before the show, and I was rushing to get editing done, and I didn't get to double check all the videos like I like to, and I left part of an experiment edit from the men's, and all the GPU acceleration images are on there, and I'm like, well, that was awesome. So I do apologize for that because I like everything to be good for our viewers. That's like my priority. But when your internet breaks, you can't do anything for your viewers when your internet breaks. And so I was trying to focus on fixing that more. And actually, it turns out to be something wrong with the laptop that I edit with, because it was fine on my desktop, but I edit on my laptop, and I literally had to go back and forth between the two computers editing today. It took about 3 times as long as normal. So Van, sir, how are you?
First off, tell Say Wrong it's not my fault.
It's not.
It is not my fault.
It's not his fault at all. But he'll never believe me, so I'm not sure why I even tell them. Right. But just for Tony, I'll sing one note. No, there. Okay, there's one note. It wasn't even that great. Okay. Van, sir, you just got back from an event. How was that?
Woo-wee, it's been a long weekend. I was at the Sassoon waterfront yesterday and the Vallejo waterfront today. So I've just been out there meeting people. I want to let right off the beginning, because I'm really excited about this. I am itching. I am excited. I am direly waiting to give away this NeoPixel lightsaber. But I need 4 more subscribers by the end of the show. 4 more, just 4 more subscribers to YouTube, and we will be giving away this Star Killer 2 NeoPixel Saber. So if you would like that, get 4 more people, or jump on your alternate YouTube account and make sure to sign up for that.
2 more. So if we reach 1,500 during the show, we will do a giveaway at the end of the night. I'm already collecting comments. Each comment from your each one comment from you is an entry in, so you only get 1 entry. But if you have alternate accounts, you can sign in, sub, and then leave a comment that way. It's already counting comments. I already have it prepped just in case, because I just have a feeling. Oh, we have 1 subscriber left. So, all right, guys.
Woohoo!
Guess what we start. Do you remember what we start the show with? I'm trying to remember, Van. What did we start the show with?
Nerdy news.
The nerdy news, which, wow, that sounded very strange on my side. Do I have my sound? Yeah, that's right. All right, guys, tonight on the nerdy news, I actually really like the stories we have tonight, so let's just get with it. First, Star Wars plus Halloween shopping guide. Guys, Halloween is just 23 days away. You gotta jump in on this. If you want something fun and Star Wars related, kids stuff and whatever, you just check that link in the description below, which has the information that you need for your Star Wars Halloween shopping guide. When I saw the link, I was like, oh yes, shopping guide. And then next on our nerdy news, y'all, Ke Kwan joins the MCU in his first episode of Loki season 2. If you have not seen Loki at all, watch it. If you haven't seen season 2, episode 1 yet, watch it. It is so much fun. I love Ke Kwan the most. If you guys don't know who Ke Kwan is, he played. Oh gosh, my brain's farting.
He played Data.
Thank you.
Yes. And Short Round.
So Short Round is what I was thinking of. He is an Indiana Jones. She was Short Round. And then he also won an Oscar for Everything Everywhere All at Once. He was absolutely spectacular. So if you haven't seen Everything Everywhere All at Once, go watch that. That was also an amazing movie. Yes, he was in Indie Tuesday long. Thank you.
And watching him on Oscar night was like watching a little kid at Christmas. He was so excited.
The joy in your heart, like you felt that with him. And all I can do is just hug and love him, because for the ladies who also don't know, they're watching, and everyone watching, I did martial arts. Yes. Asian actors. Yes. I did martial arts for about 5 years, and I had to permanently retire due to a medical condition. But so I grew up watching Jackie Chan and all these different, and then when I saw him Everything All at Once, and I was like, he kicks ass. But Sorry, guys, it's a family-friendly show. I
He kicks
almost said
booty.
the wrong thing. He kicked good booty. He's good at kicking booty. I was very happy, and so we're at 1,501, guys. We will have a Saber giveaway tonight.
I was going to show you 15.
Yeah, I have it here, dude. Look,
I was trying to show the audience. Oh, there it is.
The audience. Okay, yes, we're at 1,501, guys. We will have a Saber giveaway tonight. Please stick around, and we'll just explain some rules in just a moment after Nerdy News. So Kihui Kwan, yes, guys, please watch. He is awesome and amazing, and I'm really excited that he is here in the MCU now. He plays OB, or Ouroboros is kind of like the full thing, but they call him OB, which I just think of an OBGYN, unfortunately, but that's just how it is. All right, thank you so much. It's a two. I can't even remember if I'm saying that right, but I want to make words right. But thank you.
I had an interesting. I was watching the premiere episode of Loki, and the very first TVA guard that comes on, I was like, "Hey, wait a minute! That guy owes me $20." The very first TVA guard that comes on is a spoken word poet named Raphael.
That is funny.
Casael. And Casal. Raphael Casal. He performed for me many, many years ago and then collected his money and then bounced before his performance. I was like,
that is hilarious.
So he still owes me $20, and I know you got the money now.
Mike Berger has a question. Hey, Van, if I hit California for Galaxy's Edge, want to do a live show with me? Yeah, I think if you go ahead and DM each other on Facebook, and you can chat about that more, because we do have a lot packed into this show that I want to make sure we don't run super duper late. So you guys can chat about that, and then if you want someone else to join you, anyway,
Kyber Game field trip.
Yes, do it, Matt says. And hi, Matt. He's one of our patrons, so welcome. Yes, I know I hit the comment thing. I'm giving you a break because you're going to be doing it during the interview. Guys, our Saber giveaways, whenever we have them, we have a few rules. You cannot have won a Saber in how many months?
The last 6 months.
Last 6 months. You cannot be a paid employee of Kyber Cave or Kyber Cave Productions.
Which there is one.
Which there is one. And then you if it's shipping to you, you have to pay for the shipping, correct?
Right. It's $15 to ship in the United States, yes. But if you're local, you can just pick it up if you like.
Yeah, if you're local, you could just pick it up. I'm not sure if they necessarily allow live streaming, but they probably allow like live streaming. People live stream in the park and take videos all the time. There's no expectation of privacy. You're not claiming this stuff as your own. You can say I'm not affiliated, so on and so forth. Anyway, next is our flow of the show, guys. We have James Kaiser, who's one of our producers, and he brings us a flow of the show every week. And this week, the flow of the show is SABERSONIC. And if you'd like to check out his TikTok, which is what this video is from, there's a link to it in the description below. Please enjoy today's flow of the show. thank you, James Kaiser, for bringing that to us. That guy was so fast. Was like,
I loved it. I loved the smoke too. When
yeah,
he was,
it was
when he
so dramatic. I was like, hey, there you go. Slay.
That was a good one. That was very much fun to watch.
So yeah, if you guys want to check out his TikTok, in the description below, it's SABERSONIC. You can check out the link there and you'll find a bunch of other videos that I saw on his page. All right, guys. Well, we have our interview coming up. Van, do you want to do the honor of introducing?
Well, I guess so. So usually I would be doing this interview segment, but Mez is going to be running this one. So I get to do the introductions. I guess I usually do the introductions. This one is another exciting show. This is one that has been a little time in the building just to get all these incredible people in one place together. Now, many of the people that you're going to see tonight, you have seen on this show individually. We have a couple new faces, but you may have seen them on the show in the past. But this is the first time we have brought together some of the best women from multiple different leagues, all coming together on the same stage to talk about their experience in Sabres, what they see for the future of Sabres, and maybe let you know and inspire you to become a part of this a Saber organization. So with no further ado, please give it up for ladies of the lightsaber.
Hello. Gosh, I might keep that song around. That was really kind of a hype song. It got me very excited. All right. Well, thank you all of you for joining us. I would actually like to start with going around kind of, I'm going to say in a swirl. So we'll start with Hythel, then Lady Malice, then Melodie, Jowanna, Dark Lady, Katie, Nate, and Chelle to introduce your name, like in your role in your organization and what your organization is.
Hi, I was listed on the thing as Anna, but I'm known on social media as Hythel, and I am one of 2 head instructors of Gulf Coast Saber Training, a satellite group of TPLA.
All right, awesome.
My name is Tesh. I go by Lady Malice. I'm the secondary instructor of the Outer Rim Praxium Lightsaber School, which is an independent mix of performance martial arts and like theater and a couple of different things.
Hi, I'm Melodie Graham, and I represent the Saber Legion. I am, if you've never heard of the Saber Legion, it is the MMA of sword fighting. It has over 8,000 members, and we fight with the Unified LED Heavy Combat Grade Saber. I run sports management team, which means I run all the rule sets and gear approval and sabers that get approved for use. And I also am the founder of the Women's Charter and the Women's Division tournament. I created the Underground Division that we did during COVID, and I am one of the 4 national directors that actually administers and certifies tournaments. Like, I'm the center ring. And I developed our newest rank program with David Laudenslager and a couple other of our team members, which we currently have 200 ranked fighters, 29 of them being women in the women's division. And I train and developed all the curriculum for all of the directors that we currently have that are certifying directors for rank, which are about 28 right now currently. And I'm currently training our first international member to hold international contests abroad. And I also developed the certifying line judging program. And I sit on our national council as sports management team lead.
Awesome. Okay, since our order is kind of, oh, he put it back. Oh, goodness. Okay. I'm going to switch this back around. There. Okay, that just makes me more comfortable. Jowanna, please.
Hey, everybody. I am Jowanna Lewis from Lightspeed Saber League. I am communications officer. And I'm just so honored to be in the same like chat with all of you guys. So thanks so much for having me on today. This is amazing.
All right, and then next I think we're gonna do. Goodness gracious, you're confusing me, Van. All right, we're gonna do Lady Draeda, please.
Hello, my name is Amanda, otherwise known as Dark Lady Draeda. That's what they know me by around here. And I am a primary instructor with Rancor, and it's based out of the Grayson Art Gallery in Grayson, Kentucky. We are a combination performance and competitive dueling group. We're relatively small. I was one of the founders of the group. Since then, we've just continued to grow. I'm so excited to be here with everybody because there's so many impressive people here. So just thanks for having me on.
Awesome. I'm gonna let Van just kind of move people around. I guess we're gonna do Katie next. Okay, Van. Do it that way and that way. I think the connection's being kind of wonky. All right, Katie, would you like to say what your organization is and what your role is?
Sure. Hello, my name is Katie Mean. I am the Chief Tech Officer for the Saber Martial Arts Foundation, or Saber Martial Arts. It was founded by my husband and 4 others of Alan Venable, Steve Kirk, Nick Richardson, and I know him as Fode. We've been around since the end of 2018. And we are basically an organization for all sorts of schools can come together and basically be an umbrella, let them fight each other, have a place where they can try other schools' rules and whatnot, and just build a community instead of an empire.
Gotcha. Awesome. All right, and Chelle.
Hi everyone, I'm Michelle from Silver Sabers Combat Academy. We are based in the UK. It's a lovely 3:30 in the morning right now where I am. I am the executive officer, one of the instructors, and also a student as well, because you're always learning with this art form. We are a combat academy at the core. It's Tai Chi based martial arts with form flow. And also we teach the European longsword, two-handed, based on the battlefield geometry you'd see back in the day when people actually fought with swords. And we also do choreographed display fighting at Comic-Cons and stuff. So there's loads of levels to what it is that we do. So yeah, that's me.
Awesome. All right, so I'm gonna kind of Van, if you could check the private chat real quick, I'd appreciate it. So I'm going to kind of do a thing where to change a little bit, like here is the person who's talking is going to be right here. And I'm just going to go down the list for questions, because I think it's good to have whoever's talking bigger so we could see you clearly and everything. And so I'm going to start with, hi Thrall, we're going to start with you since you're at the top at the moment. What kind of training in martial arts do you have? And then after you finish, we'll go down.
So years and years ago, I took some Taekwondo and a little bit of here and there, whatever people were willing to teach me, and to kind of bounce off of that a little bit. We have gone into this without a huge background, and that's one of the things we heavily try to promote with our training is you don't have to have a pedigree. You don't have to have this huge list of, well, I've trained with this person and this person and this person. We're the I can do this all day people, where we came in off the streets. We're willing to, put in the work, listen, learn, take critique and feedback, and go from there. So no huge, big background with it. A lot of just learning and picking up, and like was said before, you're always learning, even if you're teaching. If you stop learning, what's the purpose? So no huge background.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Lady Malice?
Absolutely no martial arts background or sports or anything athletic whatsoever until this. I would say the only formal kind of physical anything when we were founded was actually our instructor had done some ballet. So that played a little bit into our footwork. But other than that, no real grounding in martial arts.
All right. Thank you so much, Melodie. You're muted at the moment. There you go.
I echo women saying that I don't have any formal martial arts instruction. Most of mine is actually, I was a theater geek and did stage combat. I also worked as an equity stage manager. So, and I have a master's degree in curriculum, which is why I write and develop all of our training programs. So that's pretty much what my background is. TSL.
That's really cool.
Oh, thanks. TSL is actually founded by Terry Birnbaum and Josh Linden. They were like two guys who showed up in their backyard with some LED sabers. They got at a con and were like, this is really cool. We should like hit each other with it. And then they decided to start getting equipment. And then they found Aaron Riley, who before me was the only national director, and this guy, Lewis Spooner. And they developed like this whole group that online that just kind of fell in love with the idea of becoming like anybody can come and play, whether you have no training at all, whether you're just two guys who find a sword, you know, or a lightsaber at a con, or whether you are somebody who is trained, like how can we put you in a ring together and really see who is like has the best training or no training at all and just can like work with what they naturally have. And so that's it.
Yeah, it kind of makes me want to take Katie's advice, but like let them fight. I want to get my kids each a saber, and when they have an argument, just be like, "Go hit the ring."
Yes, I mean, really, it's founded on that idea, like basically, like people in the backyard with like branches, like when you're kids, you know.
Yes, yes. All right, Chelle.
Yes, I have. I had to think about this. I actually remember doing karate as a kid. I've always been a bit of a tomboy. Do you use that term in America, tomboy?
Yes.
Yes, cool. So you know what that means. So yeah, always look for that sort of thing growing up. But other than that, not really. But once I joined Silver Sabers and discovered that it was actually held at a Tai Chi studio, I joined the Tai Chi classes as well. So for the last 6 years, I've been doing Sabers and Tai Chi together, and they intertwine beautifully. So yeah.
Oh, that sounds very pleasant. Like I just want to do it that now.
That is fine.
All right, Lady Draeda.
Yeah, I have zero martial arts experience outside of this. I did receive training at MSU Order, which is a group that's at Morehead State University. That's where I started, but before that, literally nothing. I just jumped straight into Sabers.
Awesome. All right, and Jowanna.
I came from a fencing background, so I fenced in college and did sports throughout like my childhood. I ended up fencing just as a class to do with my brother and loved it so much that became what I wanted to do as like a sport. So I've been so after college, transitioning into Lightspeed was I was looking for something to do that I can still hone my skills and have a lot of fun. And they found me and I found them. So
that's awesome. Okay, so next, my question, my thing is not switching. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm big. I don't need to be big, but whatever. My next question, actually, I know some of you are involved in social media, but I want to see, how do you find the balance between like your Saber community activities, family, employment you have? I know some of you might be like the Saber stuff might be kind of mixed in with the employment as well. So we're going to start with Ratle.
So my employment dealing with my Saber stuff?
Well, like how the balance between like life of Saber stuff, activities, you know, other things you do, whatnot.
So you mentioned social media. I started doing social media because when the world shut down, I missed my students and I needed an outlet. And I got bullied, peer pressured into doing social media. And I am so grateful that my friends bullied me into doing it. But when it comes to the balance, it has become such... You have, I'm going to try this. This is a hobby. This is now my life. And I have entered, this is my life. And it's just an integral part of what me and my partner do. We train a group once a week, but I try to train at least 4 times a week. Everything we do is volunteer based. We don't get paid for anything we do. So all of the teaching that we do, the classes or choreography, anything like that, we provide for free. So it's just a part of who I am now. So it just feels like a natural, normal balance at this point.
Yeah, kind of intermingles already because it's just all
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, awesome. Maria, you are next.
I'd probably say a lot of that's really similar for me. Excuse me. My husband and I co-run the group, so there really is no balance between anything. And I'm only adding this because I know nobody I work with will watch this. But my paid job, all of my lunch breaks and everything is like going on and doing the Praxium social media or doing a little bit of editing or whatever else. And I definitely don't have a healthy balance, so I don't have a good answer for this. But
it can be definitely hard to find a good balance. I am like all day Sundays. I am at my computer editing and working, or like at my church I do editing there and stuff like that. So, all right, thank you very much, Katie.
So when my husband and I were in charge of a school down in SoCal, before we moved out to the state that we're currently in, it was basically our life. We did it. We officially had 2 classes, twice a week. So one on Wednesdays and one's on Saturday nights. And then we added on, Tuesday nights for the elite class. And then we had people come over to our apartment practically at least once or twice a week. So we lived and breathed this, and we were basically the foundation to a lot of students. It's in order for it to work, you kind of have to put your life into it. It becomes part of your life, and you learn how to work around it. For the foundation at the moment, it is a little bit harder because there's life events happening for the higher ups, including myself. But there's always a place to go back to find a balance to keep it going. If it's a passion that you like and it's something that you want to do, then you will keep doing it.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. Melodie.
So I don't actually have a full-time job. My husband actually lets me stay at home because I used to tell people this joke that he just loves PSL so much that he was like, "Hey, take my wife." So and so I probably do about 40 to 60 hours a week in TSL work. So I write our schedule for Combat Con. Like I write all of the rule sets that are updated every single year. And so it is like 40 or 60 hours a week. Charlie knows this because he tells me, he's like, please stop. I'm like, too much. But social media, I don't really handle too much of our media. I do like Insta posts and but we have a media team that luckily does that. The most that I've done is I do training videos for our staff to be trained, and I host monthly meetings for their training. And so I think I don't have a really good work-life balance, like to echo most of the other things here. I think women are traditionally always kind of balancing many things, like we're jugglers, right? Because the expectation is that we can be the best moms and the best wives and the best at, doing our jobs and everything. And so there's a lot of pressure in, I think, the women's community to be able to do all of these things. And I don't think maybe a work-life balance is necessarily what all of us can. It's like the goal, maybe not what we're all being able to achieve. But yeah, that's where I am. I have 3 kids, and all of them participate in CSL. My youngest is 14, and he just started. So,
oh, I have a 13-year-old. Seychelle has a question, but I have that in my something similar in my list. So Seychelle, I'm going to save that for a little bit later. Chelle, I'm going to go ahead and have you go next.
Yes. So when I came into Silver Sabers, I had a full-time job as a graphic designer, and I was just doing 1 class a week because there only was 1 class a week back then. And then slowly another beginner's class appeared, and the class I was in had people that had been there like a year before me. So I was like well behind. I was like, I've really got to dig in here and catch up with everybody. Then I started doing 2 classes a week, and then it was like 3 classes a week. And then Faisal, who was the director of the company, was like, oh, you should learn to be an instructor. And I was like, God, no, you got to be kidding. I've got a full-time job. I'm happy. I don't need that in my life. Some like extra stuff to do. He's quite persuasive. And yes, I ended up becoming an instructor as well. And then I started to come on board to help with admin tasks, events, bookings. And then before you knew it, I felt like I had 2 jobs. So I had to kind of rebalance my life. And I became a freelance graphic designer so that I could do freelance jobs in my passion, which is graphics, and then help instruct and manage our membership scheme and the website and videos and everything for the Silver Sabers on the other side, which is another passion, but it's also a job. So yeah, that's how I balanced that. And there was mention of lockdown and COVID, and that's when I think it really honed in on what it is that you can do, because we took things online during COVID thinking, oh my God, how are we going to make this work? And it's actually something we've tried to develop since and kept. So yeah, lots of things to balance, but that's how I do it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Lady Draeda.
Yeah, it is a very delicate balance that I am bad at. I do have a job. I'm a dog groomer. And I'm a mom. She's about to turn 5 with my husband, Derek, who is the other primary instructor for our group. I actually got him into Sabers 7-8 years ago. That time I had already gotten to like the highest rank at the group at Morehead State. And I was just starting Rancor and Grayson. So I had to teach him. He had a friend of mine from Morehead State University was his master. Because he ended up going Jedi. It's a different form set. You know, I don't have to get into explaining our entire system right now, but basically our entire relationship, our whole marriage there's Sabers in it. I think the key for me is just being really good at compartmentalizing or else it will just take over completely. We have the one main class on our Sundays. But me and Derek also go and we cross train with other groups in the area to keep up with our own training, because we can't just teach all the time, and it's a continued learning kind of thing. So we still continue to go to MSU Order. We'll go to Imperial Legion practices. Like we're all over the place. We get visitors from all over. So throughout the week, we're constantly engaging with the community. We bring Sis with us to a lot of stuff. She loves it. She loves watching Mom and Dad fight lightsabers. She's going to have some really wild stories when she grows up and talks about her childhood. But yeah, I've yet to find a balance that is, you know, perfect, because it bleeds into absolutely everything.
Yeah, I understand that. All right, Jowanna.
Yeah, that is a tricky question. You came out swinging early on this.
Whack.
Right. Well, for me, it's a lot different because I have a full-time job and I run a business and I do Sabers. So I always tell Kang I'm at his disposal whenever he needs anything regarding Sabers. I am one of the people that he goes to when he's trying to like talk out some ideas, and I love that part. I at one point was handling some of the communications and doing kind of weekly updates and stuff, and that was a lot of fun, but it just took so much of my time that it was like I could not do it properly for the league as well as I had wanted to do it. So I understood where my shortcomings were on that and moved appropriately. But as far as trying to find a balance, it's, you know, and for me, because I'm not in LA or where a league is, it's always like, okay, can I get into town and practice with anybody for any amount of time and still try to, like, when I go to LA, especially, it's like, okay, let me try to do as much as I possibly can and still hang out with people, still try to get a practice in with somebody at a random park, wherever they're at, and just try to find that balance. But I understand, like, if I had my way and had any amount of time, I would dedicate way more of it to Lightspeed, because it it has helped me so much, just kind of channel some energy. There were days where it helped me work some stuff out. As I would tell my mom, it's like, oh, it's a practice. I got to work some stuff out in my head. It has just been such a great tool for me, considering everything else that I have going on. And so this is definitely one of those situations where I wish I was giving back more than I actually am.
Gotcha. And then just for everyone to see, Chelle's got a cat. Very, very cute. It made me excited and I had to share it. All right. Yeah, I can totally relate. Like a lot of us can. It's hard to not be doing something you love. Even when it kind of overtakes parts of your life. There are things I love about my job and I want to keep doing it, but I realize there are other things I have to take care of too. So I understand that part of it. And with the world that we live in, a lot of things can be really hard. And so finding something like a Saber community that you're involved in helps give you that thing to focus your mind on. And sometimes even the discipline of it helps you manage things better in your life. So what is it like working with, guys in the organization? So we had like a question from Seychelle earlier that I thought was kind of interesting about, there being sexism with nerds in Star Wars and in the Saber community. Kind of like, is your experience a lot of that, or is it a lot of support instead? So we're going to go ahead and start with Ratle.
In any fandom, you're going to find a level of sexism, but unfortunately, it is such a huge pity that it is now synonymous with Star Wars. When you had the new movies come out or any female-led thing, suddenly the term Mary Sue gets thrown around. Which, fun fact, the creator of that term regrets it. But for me, yeah, I've had people where I could be this far away from them trying to talk to them. They will not respond, but the moment my partner walks up, on it, they'll do it. So I've had it in my face. I have had people try to tell me, well, you can't do this because you're a girl. I've had people try to fight me because I'm a girl. They want to put me down to size, and they actually told me that. My reaction to dealing with it is, at this point, I'm just like, that's nice. I don't have anything to prove to anybody. Mm-hmm. If we had some SCA people in our area where this guy told me, well, I won't fight you because you're a girl. And I told him that's your problem. And he was talking about, well, I'd feel bad that I hit you. And I said, well, that's your problem. Did I consent to being in this fight? Is that what we're here for? And I asked him, would you do the same thing with a guy? And he said, no, that's not how it's brought up. And I said, that's not my problem. It's different in combat. If you are fighting me harder because you are trying to hurt me because I'm a woman, that's a problem. Mm-hmm. But if it is us just competing, what is the issue? Mm-hmm. And so we are starting to see more of women pushing and being a part of these sports. I'm always so excited when we have new girls show up to the dojo to train, that we are seeing more and more of this. We do volunteer stuff at a middle school, and the people that walk up the most asking to train are girls. And it is such a wonderful turn where there's this, well, I can't be feminine and girly if I do fighting or if I hold a blade. And it's, yes, you can. You can do both. And we're starting to see that shift. And within the fandom, you're always going to have negative people. And the best thing that I can think to do is just be the example that young me needed. And hopefully win people through example. But I'm not going to try to change hearts that are just there to be negative.
All right. That's very, very good. Thank you. Lady Malice.
I would say I've been very fortunate overall with the limited amount of sexism I've experienced. The community's been really great. And when we do have a student who comes in and doesn't take me seriously, everybody's very quick to make that person know it's not acceptable. And those people don't do well in our group for other reasons if they're not going to be teachable just because of my gender. The places where issues usually come up is in our public facing events. We usually have a booth at conventions or a table at local festivals. And you'll have people who don't take the female duelist seriously, or who do the whole customer service nice means you must like me, sexualizing students. So I haven't had to deal with it as much as I've gotten older, both in maturity and being older than the guys who come up to the booth now. They're not as creepy. But I'm always having to be hyper aware of our female students, of who's talking to them, who's trying to find them on social media, who's acting like a super fan of their character, but actually being creepy in real life and just wanting to find out personal details. And
yeah, it's rough when you have that kind of world. That's what you have to watch out for.
Yeah,
that's the world we live in.
Yep.
Right, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm so glad you keep your girls safe. Katie.
I have been fortunate and not had to deal with this because even though I'm a chick, and I did train when we were in SoCal. I did train the beginners course, and I trained everyone hard. Everybody knew who I was. I didn't like to have the title of the battle masters or the head teacher's wife. I was the instructor of the initiate class. But a lot of the females in our group, I didn't see have an issue. And if there was an issue, we always nipped it in the butt real quick. We didn't tolerate any type of, when we were there for training, nothing else mattered. We didn't talk about stuff that wasn't needed. And, I haven't had an issue because I proved myself as a teacher and as a fighter. And that's all. You can't change somebody's mind with words. You have to change it with actions. And sometimes you just have to if you have to beat them in a fight, you beat them in a fight. And if that doesn't happen, whatever. It's not, in my opinion, it's not my problem. It's their problem.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
So like I said, I've been fortunate to not have to deal with that. I think a lot of people who know me in the community already know my stance of my position in the community. And again, I haven't seen too much of it compared to you guys.
All right, thank you so much. Melodie, let me swap it. There he goes.
I would say that it is better now. I think that it's much better now. So I want to start by saying that positivity. I would say that PSL was founded back in like 2015, and things were not necessarily equal then. At like that point, there were like 2 women fighters, so there wasn't like a lot of representation. I was the first national director after they only had one, and I was a woman who didn't have a martial arts background. And I was chosen to be like the second, and it was difficult because I could tell that some of the fighters, like when I make a call, that's the decision in a match, whether you win or lose, whether you win the belt, whether you go on to the next match. And so I think there was like some like, oh, you know, blah, 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 whatever. And there's always like a focus on, if I'm like being emotional or something like at an event, I've actually had like a director say like, well, I'm sorry, I know you can't be emotional because people will view that because you're a woman and take it to mean that, you know. And so, so I've definitely had, like that person was saying it empathetically because they could be emotional because they were a man and sit there and be upset about something that had just happened, but I couldn't. And they were like recognizing that. And so I think that it is always a challenge, but things have gotten better. Representation matters. And so I founded the Women's Charter within TSL because some of the armor that's required, we even had like some men who were trying to describe what gear women would have to wear and would literally turn like red on like the streams, like because they just couldn't, like it just like couldn't do it. So we actually had like a whole other group just so we could talk about our own groin protection, our own like breastplates, things like that to protect us. And I think it's really interesting that because our charter has grown, then we had like a women's tournament, and all of a sudden a standard division might have only actually ever had maybe 1 or 2 women show up, or 2 or 3 women show up at the annual tournament, our biggest international tournament with like 80 fighters, and only 1 or 2 of them would be women. But now that we've added a women's division, we easily get like anywhere between 15 and 20 women from around the country who come to participate in the international tournament. So I think that things are getting better because women are showing up, because they're being encouraged by martial groups like your guys, and they're being you know, trained in all these things. They can come to competitive events, feel confident that they have the training to walk in the ring. And something that TSL is really good about is saying a fighter is a fighter. Like, our fighters go up against any other fighter. You know, we have the women's division, but you also can compete in all of the other divisions. So you can be in standard, you can do exotic weapons, unity, you can do all of those things as a woman also. So it's nice to have representation in the women's division, but also have the equal in all the other divisions that we can participate in.
Wow, that is tough to follow.
Yes.
We lucked out. We lucked out when I joined Lightspeed. I actually joined, and there was another woman who joined with me, and then Trish was there also. So we lucked out with the 3 of us because we instantly became a team without being an official team together. So we would fight each other, and we would scout the other fighters and fight each other and fight them, and just be like, hey, watch out for this, do this, watch out for that. Lightspeed hasn't really had a problem with the male-female dynamic, mainly because it's kind of nipped in the bud pretty quick. Anytime anybody's ever even thought to discount any of us because we were women or anything like that, if Kang didn't step in and put a stop to it immediately, one of the other fighters would. And I remember when Lightspeed started doing a women's tournament separate, a lot of the guys were actually happy because they were like, oh, look, maybe now we'll have a better shot at doing better and placing higher, because that was the one thing that I loved about Lightspeed from when I started. I was a female fighter, but I was a fighter above all, and then I just happened to be female. And it was always seen as, no, Jo is a force to be reckoned with, and she just happens to be a girl, but don't go in there thinking that she's going to go easy on you or expect you to go easy on her, because she is going to destroy you if you try to like go light. And that culture has just kind of carried over. Even as the league got bigger, there's just always been a respect as, hey, these are fighters who happen to be women. Do not make the mistake of thinking that women fighters are not as strong, not as powerful, not as fast as the men, because you will be sorely like shocked when you get in there with them.
You're muted, hun.
I'm muted?
No, me. This is what happens when Van tells me to mute because I type really loud. And so I muted myself, and I was
Sorry
talking.
about that. And then she forgets to turn it back on. I'll try to remind you if I notice it again. All right, go team.
Yeah, right. Thank you. Mike Berger from Jedi Council of America has a question specific for you, and if you're comfortable answering, what did you do with the guy in Michigan that turned into a big problem?
I don't actually know what he's referencing, quite honestly. So I don't know. So each of our charters like kind of work on their own. So if there was a specific issue that was like dealing with a woman's issue, then I might have been like I might have provided some counsel or brought in as that or whatever. But unless it was specifically for that, I wouldn't deal with other charter stuff necessarily until recently when I like joined the National Council about 3 years ago. So if it was before that, I'm not really sure what he's talking about.
Okay, no worries.
But I would like to say, because I've in the chat, we have a chat with a private chat, and so I would like to talk to Hydra. I'm gonna say it wrong. Hydral. Sorry, Hydral. So sorry. that you were saying, you know, like how, you know, our group is different about gender roles. And so when you go into a standard fight, like, or on a meet, like a fighter is a fighter. You go in the ring and there is no division. Like, we don't separate like, you know, men and women from like training or fighting or anything, but, you know, we do actually hit each other, right? Like, so it's more like lightsaber fencing where we do hit each other, but it's also like HEMA. You can also do HEMA where you're like cutting through the body, right? Or something like that. So some of the women just feel like more comfortable fighting other women. Others choose not to do that. They just want to do standard, and women choose to do both. So it's really a choice that we offer to our community, where they get to elect if they want to participate in everything, one thing, anything that they want. So it's not trying to purge division. Yeah.
No. And I think that's interesting, because when we go to teach our trainees, I always tell them the worst thing that's going to happen to you is you're going to get hit. Armor, no armor, you know, of course, you're not swinging for the fences ever. So what we try to do, because we call the problem training in a fishbowl. When you're used to fighting the same people over and over again, you will be the big fish in that fishbowl. But as soon as you're thrown into the lake, you're in trouble. So one of the things we try to do is my partner and I, we will be the first ones to do these arming exercises with everybody to get them used to fighting. And then we make everyone randomly pair up. And it's gotten to the point where, honestly, our private chat, things being mentioned, it was like, wow, we never think about gender when we gear up. The only time we even bring it, because gender isn't something we focus on, it's more whatever your body has, this is the gear that you're going to need according to the standards. Just buy that gear, make sure you have it. Otherwise, gender doesn't come into play at all. Protect yourself, make sure you're safe, and go. So like today, today's our training day. Everyone just switches. We just, okay, have you fought them today? No, then you need to. And we just constantly rotate. Never comes into mind, my female fighters, that they might be uncomfortable, because we just constantly like interact. So that's a concept that I didn't think about, but that is important, that some people might not be comfortable. So making sure they have that safe space.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, Lady Draeda, you've got a pet now too. This is amazing.
He was begging for attention. This is Cyrus. Yeah, unfortunately, I have experienced sexism in the hobby. I've been at this for a while. We're going on like a decade, and Sabers hasn't existed in this area for very long. It started with MSU Order just a few years before I started there. And it was mostly men, mostly college-aged men, you know. There was one or two other women whenever I joined. They had like 30, 40 members. And yeah, it ran rampant. I think part of me back whenever I started Rancor, a little bit was out of spite, just because of how underestimated me and the other girls were. And I wanted to create an environment that was notably different than that. Obviously, the state of the order in Moorhead is so much better now. You know, they have, and then it's not even a new thing. They've had women in leadership for the last several years. Their ratio is like 50-50 now, so that's great. And I'm hearing a lot less of it come out of it. But around here, most of us grew up rural. You know, we're by no means even close to any of the big cities. The closest would be like, you know, Lexington, Louisville, which is, you know, far west from here. So it might just be the area we're from where, you know, just sexism just is more common. But yeah, it was a problem, especially whenever I was first starting out. I've been trying to be proactive about, you know, nipping it in the butt as soon as I see it. Rancor hasn't had, you know, much issue with it, but obviously it's because there's a woman in charge. You know, men don't tend to join, small groups like that, whenever they're sexist and there's a woman in charge. Um, but yeah, I do still run into it occasionally, and it's usually whenever I am fighting somebody new that I've never fought before, or someone new. Um, Sometimes, like I'll catch like it's always young dudes, right? And I'll come up and I'll be like, what are you learning? Let me help you. Um, let's see what you got. And then all of a sudden they're nervous and they don't want to hit you, and they're not performing I've been watching them the whole time, like kind of keeping up with where they're at before I even approach them in the first place. And they always act like I'm a delicate little flower, and I'm like, hit me. Like, please hit me. I'll be fine. I promise. Or even better is whenever and this happens with every new rotation of new students over in Moorhead, because I'll go over there for a visit. They'll have a whole new class of freshmen. And my favorite thing is if one of the boys comes up and they're like, oh, that's cool. You've been doing this for a while. What forms do you have? All of them. All of them. I made a couple of them. And just the look on their face. It's just, I live for it. Absolutely live for it. But yeah,
I can see you reliving the faces right now as you speak.
It is. It just, I'm numb. I eat that shit for dinner. Sorry, I don't mean to curse. That's family friendly shit. But yeah, like I said, unfortunately, I've run into it. It exists. But it is leaps and bounds better. And what I do run into is just stuff I can laugh off, or I can turn into a teaching moment. So that's always my big thing.
That's great. I love that. We're going to have Chelle go next, and then we have a couple questions I want to address as well. Van popped in doing my thing.
First off, I want to say for all of our fantastic, great guests, I don't know if you guys are seeing comments, but you guys are individually getting so much love from people who obviously know who you are. So I just want you to take that all in, know that you are loved. People are watching. A lot of people are online right now, in fact. So this has been fantastic. And for everybody in the audience, oh my gosh, I totally wish you could see. There's like this whole side conversation going behind the scenes with all of our guests, and it's really cool. Like I'm watching everything, and I'm like, this almost seems like it should be like a weekly show on like how we can improve things and get like all the best fighters together, and just, I don't know. Anyway, sorry. You guys rock. I'm loving it. Thank you so much. Mez, do your thing.
Okay. Chelle, go ahead and you address the comment about sexism, and then I have a couple of questions that are geared towards a couple of people. So I just dragged the wrong person over. Okay, up top. Sorry. It's like this big for me. It's like that big, so it's hard to see.
It's a tiny little thumbnail. Yeah, I'm quite fortunate actually, and I was talking to Faisal about this yesterday, is that with the Silver Sabers, we literally have like a 50-50 ratio of female to male students, of which I think the last time I checked, I think it was about 78 students. It fluctuates. People join, people's lives change, and it goes up and down. But we've always had a really, really good mix, non-binary, trans as well. Like we really are quite open to everybody and anybody, and we all fight each other. We have no divisions, no little person or division, big person division, gender division, none of that. You're all in the same pool. You're all fighting each other. We teach small people to brawl, so they know how to get in close. Tall people tend to snipe from a distance. So yeah, everybody gets to learn with each other so that they get to adapt to different fighting styles. We all gear up. We're talking fencing masks for head blows, gloves, everything. Sexism, I've been lucky in that I've never really noticed that with anybody. You come across the odd guy here and there. Sometimes, usually it's from other academies where you think that they're like, oh yeah, you know, I'm better than you because I'm a dude, and all you got to do is just get in the arena and show them that you can dominate, and then suddenly they're like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, you're pretty good. It's like, yeah, thanks. So yeah, it's actually, I've been quite lucky.
That's awesome. That's wonderful. Okay, so we have one question actually geared towards Jowanna, and the question is: does your fencing combat help with the saber combat? Your fencing background?
Yeah, actually, it did. It was a great jumping off point for me. It helped build a really strong foundation. Lightspeed, I lucked out, and Lightspeed King had a fencing background as well, so there was a lot of the initial like exercises where it was like, oh, okay, distancing, timing, and stuff like that. It was kind of like some of the basic stuff that we did in fencing. So that part was great. And then having the ability to fight with other people with so many other backgrounds made it so much more fun. Because I've always wondered what happens if you. I always say that, especially saber fighting, be it TSL, be it Lightspeed, be it any of these, it answers the question: what happens if you pit a fencer against somebody who does longsword or somebody who has a martial arts background? And I love having that question answered every tournament, because it's just exciting to me to say, oh wow, that person has a really cool style. Does anybody know what their background is? And then you find out either they have similar styles to you or a similar story or background to you, and then or it's something totally different and they've like never done sports before. This is something that they have just been naturally good at. So fencing helped build a foundation, and I say that everything else, every fight I ever had with anybody, every time I got to watch people fight and not fight myself, it helped build the foundation to where now I'm like, okay, this is my arsenal of moves, and this is what I'm used to fighting and how I like fighting. And it's just been a combination of, I always say that my personal fighting style is fencing mixed with a little bit of Zumba and cardio kickboxing, because that's pretty much what I do all day. So it's all over the place.
Awesome. Okay, and then we have one question that's actually geared towards the entire group. What makes your group, school, or training different from others? And so we're going to start with Melodie here. She's like, oh no, me. You're muted though. I know. You're just like me. Like, I forgot that I was muted.
Yeah, I try to be muted in Zoom meetings. Okay, I guess, well, based on what the other ladies are discussing, we do full combat. So we do heavy grade blades, and we do complete gear like a metal gorget, a plastic fencing piece. I wear an 800N jacket. You don't have to wear that. You can wear lacrosse gear. And so it is like MMA of sports, right? And so I just want to be clear that like everyone trains together. And so when you're up against somebody, we were talking about something in the side chat, like you can potentially be up against somebody who is like 6'5", Seth Beam, and has a 79-inch reach, and you're 5'4", me, and I have like a 64-inch reach. I wonder what's, but I feel like one of the best things that our fighters also recognize is because we're an international group. And so all of our people come from so many different backgrounds that our community, like sometimes people are like, what is your community? And our community is diversity, because I think Charlie had said once that he thought maybe our community was not as strong as it used to be before COVID. And I said, I think our community is actually stronger because it's more diverse now. It's not just the same people in the same area who are about the same age and the same race and the same gender all participating together. Now we're in where all of our people are participating, and we have a lot of schools that participate in our program, because this is where you come to get ranked if you're interested in that and you're interested in actually being competitive. We have a ranking system, and so we've done cross work with schools that will take our rule system. We bring in our directors and our certifying staff, and they throw tournaments, and we certify them for rank, and then their fighters can cross over and be part of our system. So I think that we're trying to, be like we've always said, the MMA of sword combat, and with a thing that we all use, the lightsaber.
Okay.
There's your mic. Oh, got it. Right.
Sorry. I was like, Jowanna, I'm gonna let you go next. And I'm like, blah 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 to nobody. That's what I get. I'm multitasking at the same time. All right, sorry, I apologize.
No, the side chat is amazing. I am so into that whole conversation right now. So the question is, what makes our school different? The one thing I always say, Lightspeed is like easily accessible because we TSL has a lot of gear for safety, and I love and appreciate that so much. Lightspeed, because we use a thinner blade. We use a 3/4 inch. It is we have, the fencing mask and gloves and elbow pads. We are currently looking at things to add to make it a little safer for people. But I always say that Lightspeed is a really great starting point, especially if what you are looking for is something that you can jump in. It's a really quick study. You can pretty much get a handle on it really fast. And I think being able to improve on it's an easy thing to improve upon as somebody jumping into a league. Another thing is it's the gear required isn't as much as some of the other ones, so it's a low barrier of entry. And we always have a lot of extra gear around, so if anybody ever wanted to jump in and join and try out, we have the stuff available, because it's mainly just the fencing helmet and gloves and some elbow pads. And then I thought I have a lacrosse like shirt that I wear that's padded, that I absolutely love to have on. But I always say ours is like, really, if you're if speed is your jam, Lightspeed is for you.
Gotcha. Awesome. Thank you. Lady Malice. You're muted. Yeah, we're all doing the same thing, right?
I'm trying to be careful about my background noise. I would say the thing that makes the Praxium the most different from other groups is, I know Rancor has a lot of similarities. I think Silver Saber has a lot of similarities, but we are just as invested in storytelling and audience interaction in our public events as we are in the competitive side of things. We half jokingly call ourselves Lightsaber WWE, because it's not just about building saber skill. It's about creating a stage persona, and that comes along with a walkout song, with a unique fatality, with playing into certain stereotypes with your character, so that way you're somebody who can come out and immediately be recognizable to a casual audience that might not be super into sports or super into Star Wars. It's just, oh, that person's a cat, or that person's a space cop, or for me, I'm a night sister. So all of my tropes are just about being feminine and being mean to people because I'm a dark side character. So I wouldn't say that our saber work isn't important, but it's almost like the last thing that we worry about, because that's what we do with our 4 to 5 hours of training. But when we actually put together a show, it's about the music and the presentation at the booth to start to get people invested in the characters. We started doing kind of like a scavenger hunt, choose your own adventure type thing at some of our larger cons, where people are meeting the characters and traveling around the con floor to get invested. So that way they want to watch the lightsaber fight because they care about the duelists and they care about the characters, even if they're not the kind of people who would just go and watch people hit each other with lightsabers.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Yes, I agree with that. Katie.
So the foundation is, like I said before, is more of an umbrella for other schools to come together. But in my perspective of teaching, I believe that all lightsaber forms are based off of real life swordplay forms. And I think it's very important to understand that. And I think it's really cool to see individuals adapting themselves into certain fighting styles that works well with them, and encouraging it, and having different schools to go to under the foundation, and learning new ways, new rule sets, new forms, because everybody has forms, like, all the forms. But that's taught differently at each school. And I think it's really interesting to see the interpretation of it, see how what their form was, one is compared to one school to another. I think it's very important to, at least for me, I think combat and understanding the forms, and that should be the foremost, and treating the lightsaber as a lightsaber, not like, oh, it's this. It's like, no, it's a lightsaber. It's a 360 blade, and you treat it like a lightsaber. It's not a, an eskrima stick. It's not a fencing sword. It's not a long sword. It's a lightsaber. So it's a unique weapon, and it's really cool to see other schools interpret that into their own.
All right,
So
thank you. Yeah,
yeah.
that's really cool. I like that view because it kind of reminds me in a sense of like when you mentioned like it's like all kind of originating from swordplay. It's like it makes me think about dance or other martial arts and how there's like different denominations in a sense of one core thing that it came from. All right, Chelle.
Yeah, we are quite different in that we don't follow the Star Wars forms, so to speak. The syllabus has been developed based on the opposite, what she said, the European longsword. So although it is a stick, a lightsaber with a 360-degree cut, we will treat it like it had 2 sharp edges and 2 flat edges. So you got the slap versus a sharp cut. And also, we, on the other side of it, we have a Taiji-based root system. So everyone gets to learn kind of Tai Chi at the same time, and also how to fight the sword. And we have what we call, and it's going to sound really confusing because I'm going to use the word form, but it's got nothing to do with the forms that everyone else knows. It's like 108 movements of meditative movements with breath work, with your saber, obviously. And you do that as a group, or you could do it individually. And it helps to calm people on the inside. So when we come to do arena stuff, fight or flight is a thing, folks. Jump in the arena, someone's coming at you with a saber. It's scary, especially at the beginning. So you're going to get that lift in adrenaline, and you're just going to be like, oh my God, this is really scary. So we teach this meditative form as well, just to get people just to be able to center themselves. And we hope that they take it outside as well, not just for fighting each other in the arena, but in life, those stressful situations that you get into. So you can just recenter. So yeah, that's how we're slightly different to everyone else.
Mez, your mic.
Gosh darn it. So when you were talking
right?
about yes, I always talk to myself anyway. So forms, like you mentioned, like when even though you don't use the same term in a sense, I feel like the purpose for forms or many movements that you're doing is like a library of all the movements that you've learned. And I think that I love the idea. I love seeing forms or whichever word that any organization uses for that across being used in such a cool way. Okay. I'm going to have I done Lady Draeda yet? Not yet. Correct. I'm trying to keep track too.
All right. So we do like the Outer Rim Praxium, we do like the hybrid system. So we don't use any protective equipment. The first thing that we teach is control. It's light control. We pull our strikes, much like, very WWE. However, where the Outer Rim Praxium leans into, the character work and all that, which, by the way, they're phenomenal at. You could watch any Outer Rim Praxium fight and just be sucked in by story alone. So huge props. I do have like a background in theater. So some of those influences do come in because we perform for people, like we do parades and little performances that are at the gallery. Sometimes we'll go and do like a kids event. But it's most of the time it's much less to do with like our character story or an overarching plot or anything like that. We do teach we do teach like the forms like from the lightsaber, like from the Star Wars like universe, or like our rendition of them. And we use very, very, very small strike zones for each form, and each form has a certain number of strikes with those specific strike zones. Like Makashi has a palm-sized strike zone to each clavicle, mid-calf, top of the head. And every form has a set of very, very specific strike zones, so that whenever someone's performing a form, you know, it looks like almost like it's choreographed, because it's met with a perfect defense, because there's only so many ways that one could get hit with it. It's more like a strategy game or a dance rather than just a battle of wills and skills. But I love hearing about how everybody else operates and interprets, because having this much diversity in what is offered, like anybody that's getting into Sabers, like they can pick any of this off the buffet, right? They can get into the heavy, like super like high contact, like martial, very combat forward group, so they could go full theatric, or they could like there's so much to it. They could do flow, they could do speed, they, you know, I love it. And I like to take little bits that I learn about, you know, the ways other people do it, and kind of fold it in where it's appropriate in mine. Like I said, I developed our renditions of a couple of the forms. I'm working on like some exotics at the moment, and that's where I get my inspiration, is from like really, really talented people who are great in their field. So it's awesome hearing how everybody else does things. It's just been super interesting.
You did, hon.
I have such good stuff to say, I promise. I was like,
I know
was
you
talking
have
about
great
how
things
what.
to say. I just rather all of us hear what you have to say.
Well, because then you hear this
yourself.
instead. I'm sorry, it's a new keyboard too, so I'm not used to it being
All
so
right.
loud. So I've actually went and watched. Go away, Van. Just kidding. I love you. So watching videos of some of y'all's organizations and seeing different ways people combat or do forms and stuff was really interesting. So I'm really enjoying hearing everyone's answers about it. Hi, Thrall.
Hi. So funny that you should ask this, because I have an opening statement that I say to any new student. Hi, welcome to Gulf Coast Saber Training. We're not a Star Wars group. If you're interested in Star Wars stuff, there's the 501st, Rebel Legion, and any other number of things. For two reasons. One, you might not be a Star Wars fan and you still want to get up and do something unique and fun. Two, we don't feel like getting sued by the mouse. So there's that. But if you're a fan of The Witcher, if you're a fan of anything in media dealing with sword work, we encourage it. We've had fencers show up. We've had German longsword. We've had kendo. Everyone has something they can bring to the table. And it's a moment of, let me teach my class. And then I would love for you to please show me what you've learned, because I can take those principles, those disciplines, and apply them to what I do. Is there anything unique about my group? My trainees, everyone is such a different personality, and I love them so much and what they bring to the table. They encourage me to get out of bed and go do the thing. But when it comes to like the light fencing side, it has been fascinating to watch light fencing grow. It is one of many rule sets in this big sandbox of glow sticks we're swinging at each other. We wear gear protectively, but we have games where it's not required. Gloves always required because no one wants broken fingers. But when it comes to anything 100% about unique about our group, every group is going to be unique due to your location and the people involved. So it needs to be more diverse. We need more creative people in it. And I think that's one of the things that I'm enjoying about this conversation.
Yeah.
My
definitely.
group, there was no Saber group in this area when my partner and I started. So we did the apartment parking lot thing that was mentioned before. We've trained at parks. And I think all of that has created a uniqueness to what we do, because we feel often like the underdogs because we didn't start off associated with anybody. We had to grow and discipline ourselves and then get to that position. So if I were to say anything was unique, it would be that.
Gotcha. All right. Appreciate it very much. I'm going to have two more questions and then one last one that's kind of like a personal touch by me that I'd like to ask before we close out the interview, because we are coming up on 8:30 p.m. and I know Chelle is also very tired where she's at. I think it's 3:30 or 4:30 a.m. even, I think, actually at 4:30. It's an 8-hour difference over in the UK. So I want to make sure that we don't let her off too late. So this next question actually was from the chat from D-Rock Angel. Or Dr. OK Angel, I'm not sure which one it was, but for the group, do you think your system is the best representative of lightsaber combat? And would you be interested in trying some of the other groups? Why or why not? So we're going to actually start with Chelle up at the top.
Oh gosh, and that's like the most difficult question of the night. I think coming into this and all the different groups that I have met and also fought in the arena at different tourneys, I would say it's really nice to see that there are different styles, because it can get boring. And there are things that you pick up. A lot of French fighters like to go one-handed. I believe that's Makashi, also known as the style Makashi, which is very different to anybody who's coming in with two-handed fighting. And I always, when I see different things, I will always go up and say, oh my gosh, please show me that again. That's really interesting. And we meet up with a lot of other groups. There's a group in Germany we've met recently. We started to get along with as some people in Denmark that are interested, and we started to talk to them. So yeah, I'm always open to picking up how other people do things. It's really truly educational. But at the same time, yes, please feel free to look at what we're doing as well and see if there's anything in there you're interested in, and then just give us a shout. Oh, also I want to add, talking about safety. I know some of you might already be aware of this, but so lots of us want to get together to do tourneys, but obviously coming in with different systems, you've got that fear of, is this person going to wail at me because they're used to smashing into people with heavy armor and maybe a heavy grade blade, and you've got someone coming in who's gone, I've never fought in an academy at all, I've watched a little bit on the telly and I'm going to give this a go. And obviously you've got two completely different people in it. So what we've, I say we've, actually it was Faz and Chad Ironmonger from the, is it TPLA? And come up with what's called the Saber Accords. It's very new, but it's basically a place where people could just come together and agree on a set of base rules on how to fight safely, how not to hurt each other, so that we can all get together and try our systems with each other and not get hurt. So yeah, that's another thing for people to look into if they're interested.
I love that. That's wonderful. And I think Darth Lady Draeda's cat has something to say too.
That head is empty. Completely not a thing going on.
It's like, what's up? But I do want you to answer the question. If you didn't get the question, I'm going to put it on the thing. It's so. Do you think your system
it stalled out?
Oh, okay, so do you think your system is best representative of lightsaber combat? Would you be interested in some of the other groups? Why or why not?
Like I touched on this previously, but like
Yes.
I adore, like just like everybody here, especially because you all have just been so lovely. I've been reading through the chats. It's so hard to respond and be on the iPhone at the same time. Basically impossible. I've read everything though. But yeah, I think it's super valuable to kind of be open-minded because it's a hobby founded in fantasy. At the end of the day, the way people interpret it and the way that best suits them and their lifestyle, that's totally up to them. I like to keep an open mind, be able to kind of take inspiration from how other people are doing things. I can't say that like the way that Rancor does things is like the optimal way. even though every single season I'm trying to optimize it and improve it. But that's only possible because of the inspiration that I get elsewhere, like here, because I'm sure that I'm going to be taking some notes after this.
Absolutely. And as you know, if you ladies ever want to like go back and watch what people said, it's going to be on the YouTube channel. You could just rewatch it. I'm also going to save information from our side chatter to put in our private chat that we have on Facebook that we used to plan everything. I think it's a from what I'm gathering, even from just a couple of answers, that it's kind of like a group feeling of like what you're saying. Of course, your organization, you're going to love your organization. I think there's no doubt about that. You're going to love the people that you're with and the group that you're with. I think it's a collective unification of all of the groups in the sense that everyone agrees that what works best for you is your organization and what works for you. But there's also a unification of like hanging out with each other, meeting together like this, and being open to, hey, let me teach you a cool move that might be good for your organization too. And just sharing in the love of a sport that's branched off into so many different things, whether it's someone who likes Star Wars or not, or just wants to try something new and get active. I think it's wonderful that as a collective, I think that's kind of like the same answer I feel like from a lot of the ladies here. There's going to be, we just love Sabers. We love Saber competition. We love being with all these different people in our organization and just connecting over it. And I think it's also, this is going to go so off tangent in a sense that I'm so glad I'm not muted. It was so funny if you guys told me I was muted that whole time. That we have this technology to be able to connect like this across the pond, so to speak, and just across the U.S. because freaking U.S. is so massive as it is. And so I think I think in a sense, everyone's going to have a similar answer of connecting together and just sharing. I think that's wonderful. So I'm actually going to move on to another question that I wanted to make sure we addressed before I did my little personal one. What do you think? And this might be another bit like not a tough question, but, and if you don't want to answer, you don't have to. Just like put in the private chat that you don't want to answer, and I won't have this to come up. But what you think of the state of LED sports is currently? Do you think there should be a common rule set for interdiscipline competition, like when different organizations come together? Or bigger competitions, or should they have multiple rule sets? Like you're going to be, if you're going to do when I did competitions before martial arts, they were smaller, but they were like in a huge gymnasium or a huge building of some sort. And there would be all different schools and different kinds of combat, but then you can have one section be, this is the rule set for this competition league, and you have to know the rules for that, or should it just be one big kind of set of rules for everybody when you do all competitions together? That was a long thing. So I'm going to start with Hythrall up at the top.
Hi. So the question is about, should there be like a singular rule set for the LED sport? That was the question.
Yes, I'm little, but I'm giving you a thumbs up. Yes. So it's
okay.
Like, is the state of it good? Yeah, no, okay.
No. Like with all things, when you're talking about businesses, competition is key. Not that the different rule sets are competition, but without variety, there is no growth. If you have one group that's like, we will conquer them all, there's a reason in TV shows when you have the one that's like, I'm going to be the top and destroy everything else, they're the bad guy. We all want to do this together. Everybody just wants to share, like everybody was saying. Go try somebody else's. You do light fencing, please go play with the TSL people. Go do Ludo sports. Go do these different things if you're able to. Learn, find out, reach out. Should there be one controlling body? No. Should there be organization for each of the different types? Sure. But it has to be a conversation amongst all of the people involved. But I think it needs to remain that open sandbox of being polite, being aware of the different groups and their rule sets, and just community.
I 100% agree. Yeah, I think a lot of us are nodding our heads in agreement of like, yeah, that's just how we see it, and knowing that we're coming from like the same love for something, whether we have different rules or not. Shout out to Vallejo, California. Thank you, Andrew. Yes, Vallejo is 30 minutes away or so from where like a lot of the Kyber Cave people are like based off of, especially Van himself. All right, Chelle, would you like to address that, or you just kind of like have the same kind of feeling around it?
Yeah, and I kind of jumped this question, didn't I, earlier when I jumped in and said,
Yeah,
"Oh,
kind of
yeah,
into
yeah,
it. The
you
same
know what?
records,
This
like
is
you mentioned.
Monday. Right now, it's Monday. I'm a day
Yeah.
ahead."
Yeah. We'll let you get. No. So like it's kind of like the Saber chords, like we said with Faisal that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, so same agreement. Everybody fights under slightly different conditions, different rule sets. Some people allow heavy contact, some people don't, and do not change those. Everyone should still stick with their own style of doing things, as long as the number one priority is safety for your students. If what you're doing is not safe, then you stop, have a look at what to change, and then get back in. We are constantly working on armor. Gloves are a nightmare. I'd love to know what everybody else is using for gloves, because wow, finger breakages it could be a thing. But yes, what I was trying to get to, the point, when we come together, how do we do that under one kind of rule set? But what we're sort of saying is, if someone's hosting a tournament, you would follow potentially how they're going to run that particular tournament, their scoring system, and what they require for you to enter that tournament. So everybody has different tournaments, their own rules. Still keep that, absolutely. But what we're trying to say is we should have a rule set for safety. You should make sure that blows are pulled, for example, and people are not cutting through the target, they're cutting to the target. Perhaps, what kind of blades should we be using? Heavy grade, mid grade, all of that stuff. What has flex? What doesn't? What is safe? What isn't? We're just sort of saying, let's find a place where people can feel like they're safe when they do mix with each other. But please, guys, this is a community. Let's all get together and fight.
Let's get together and fight. I love it. Katie, would you like to address?
Sure. So that's actually what the SMAF was based off of. The key tenets for SMAF itself is safety, martial spirit, and fun. I think coming together as a community and having different rules and aspects should be very important. I don't think there should be an overall base, because again, not everyone's going to agree, and it's just going to cause a whole bunch of drama. I was part of, in SoCal, there was somebody who tried to make a unification of that, and it was quite a cluster. It was, nobody wanted to bend and nobody wanted to work with it, or people who were trying to work with it didn't feel comfortable because safety was in question, and safety for a lot of schools is key. I think with SMAF, it's really nice because we do try to have like competitions. Like this coming May, we're having like a huge demo with all the schools and other schools that are invited. Like you guys are more than welcome to join us, because we are big on community and we want to flourish that and encourage each other to grow, break bread with everyone, get to know everyone. I really think that, oh, what was I going to say? It's when it came to tournament schools that, or schools that ran tournaments that were that are under the SMAF umbrella, it's house rules. And I really think it should be that way, because that gives you opportunity to test out the house rules, see if you like it, see if you even want to participate in the tournament to begin with. Sometimes, and usually a lot of the schools, if they are newer fighters, they don't compete, or we have a section for newer fighters to fight with their level. But I think one rule set would be a hindrance to the community personally. So that's my 2 cents.
I remember to unmute this time. I appreciate it very much. Melodie, I would like to let you address that if you would feel so inclined.
Sure. I mean, I think that it has been well addressed so far, but yes, I agree. The Saber Legion has also participated in Saber Accords, which is like 5 principles basically that set a minimum standard of safety. training for certifying staff members and making sure that medical personnel are available on site and things of that nature. And I think those are things that every Saber organization should be, looking to and joining. So it was something that I think Tony Negron had put out and in the international LED group, and he had said, like, basically, like, everybody, if we can all agree to these basic principles, then we can all, like, to use this word, to play together, and everybody enjoys it and has a good time. And I think that's great. There's a group down here. I'm in Florida, so there's a group in Miami that does choreo, and my husband actually, used to participate with them, and lots of their members are also TSL members. They're also Saber Guild members. They do a lot of Star Wars and those associated things. And I think anytime you put, like my husband likes to say, every time you put a lightsaber in your hand, you're training, no matter what kind you're doing, right? No matter whatever it is that you're doing, putting a lightsaber in your hand is what we're all doing here. So I think that's great. And that, being able to work with other groups is great, because of our flexibility, like, and because of our international status, like, we can work with groups around the globe to, kind of join them together. And they do the same thing. Like, they welcome us into their house, and they will take our rule set and they'll, like, try it out and see how that works. And I always really enjoy that. I've really liked all the side conversation that we've been having here, because we're also talking about, like, women's issues, like, as far as, like, I think one of the things that if we were, like, able to at least unify as, like, a group of LED Sabers, some people don't like that word, sorry, then we could maybe do things that would encourage things like specific growth of, like, access to gear, access to specifically women's gear, to the ability to have things that are for us. Like, if I get a glove that's a small, it's not still small enough for me, okay? Because men's fingers go together like this to make this, and women's don't, okay? So, like, if you're a gear maker out there, please, you'll have a huge audience of women if you can just, we will all stand together under one unified front saying, please make us gloves. Okay, I think that's the place that we need to look for community, is, like, not in our rule sets and what we're doing at our meets or our classes or anything like that. I think we need to make systematic changes in the accessibility for women in our sport.
Yeah, I agree. It's really good, because it's like, let's address something else that's, like, really bothering us, versus focus on something that could be dividing us instead. Jowanna.
Okay, I'm going to answer this question a little differently, and I'm going to answer it strictly as a fighter. Okay. Well, first I want to say I love the different leagues, and I love the different rule sets. It's like, to me, it's like playing a video game and playing under it. When you play a video game, you don't play a video game with the same rule sets. If you're playing a fighting game, not all of the levels are going to be the same. And so that's how I look at, we'll say, LED fencing or fighting at this point. So going to a tournament where there's different rule sets or different gears required, I absolutely love that. And Lightspeed, we welcome everybody to come and, try us out as well. But as a personal fighter, and I'm literally just speaking for myself when I say this, I would love for us to all get together maybe once every 2 years or every 3 years, and maybe have a very generic, no affiliation with absolutely any organization at all type of tournament, where it's like, here are the rules, everybody has the same rules, but it's not associated with any organization, and have a fun tournament like that and just have something fun. But that's, like I said, I like the different rule sets. I like having all of that, but the fighter in me would love for once every 3 years or so to get together with everybody and have, like, one really great tournament with everybody in all of these different styles, and be able to recognize those styles and appreciate them, and still say, hey, look, all of these different styles, how do we all fare up against each other? Mm-hmm. How much fun would that be? So, like I said, the fighter in me wants that, but I definitely like Lightspeed rules, and I like the fact that they are different from say TSL rules, because now that's like, oh, this is something else that I can try to learn so that I can improve on and try to figure out all of these other rules as well. So
All right, thank you very, very much. Lady Malice.
I don't want to repeat all the good things everybody else has already said, so I'll just add that another thing that that kind of goes alongside the need for diversity and what each group is doing is just the different places that we live around the world. So I know where I'm from, it's fairly rural Appalachia. So we have a lot of people who are in the lower income bracket, people who are students, people who are struggling to find full-time work. So we've been very deliberate in not having high standards for costuming or much in the way of requirements for safety gear. Because if students were told that they even had to buy a mask or a certain type of gloves, they wouldn't be able to participate. Or even if we had a paid system where people were paying a little bit for classes or something in the way of club dues, a lot of people just wouldn't be able to participate. So that's something that like we take into account with low population, lower income, and we just wouldn't want to do the same things that other people might be able to do in other parts of the country and other parts of the world where they have a wider range of people and a bigger population to pull from when they're recruiting for their groups.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Oh, I'm unmuted. I keep checking now, so that's a good thing that I keep checking if I'm unmuted or not. Lady Draeda.
But I don't know if there's anything that I can say that hasn't already been said. But I'm very much in a similar situation as Tesh, where most of my students are in the low income bracket. Fortunately for us, most of the local circuit that we compete with functions similarly enough to us to where we do compete with them. We'll usually, like, the leaders will sit down, kind of like negotiate what rules, to kind of work with. Doing that on the world stage, however, is a little tricky. And not only that, but I don't, like I said, I like the diversity. I do kind of like Jowanna's point about just having something that's not or like affiliated with any like organization, like kind of like a middle ground, very like maybe an easy system to learn if one wanted to, take some time to learn it and then go compete. I'd be all for that. But as for there being like a set standard for groups like mine on how we operate, I wouldn't get behind that because like I love our differences. I think it's fun for like occasionally me to travel and go fight somebody that's, like I said, similar to us, but there's always those differences, and those differences do add up. It usually makes it fun, and that's kind of my takeaway, is that by making a set rule set and having organizations that kind of fall under that umbrella that all teach the same way, you're losing the things that make us unique and good. So yeah, that's just kind of like my thoughts on it. Like I said, nothing unique at this point. That's why I don't like going last.
Oh no, well, I can make something up real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with you all. Okay, there. So just for time's sake, because it is very late, I'm going to actually skip the last two personal little questions I had. I can send them to you in our Facebook chat, and then if you'd like to type a reply, I can actually share your reply like on our Facebook page in separate posts that people could find interesting. Van, you popped in. You rang.
You rang. In fact, I was going to say too, in the side chat, we were talking specifically about armor and women's armor. As we just recently had the interview with the Soft Warrior project, we're talking to Tony about it right now. It is a company in the Ukraine of all places, but they are making armor specifically for saber combat, and they're kind of in the infancy, so they're wanting a lot of input. I could definitely introduce, if there's some of the people in here that have specific things they would like to talk about. We can get a group going, and I can introduce you to Ileana. Was it Ilivana? I can't remember.
It's been a while.
It has been. I don't remember how many shows back there was,
certain.
but I know Tony knows. We'll get that taken care of, though, if that's something.
We'll get his contact information, and I'll share it. We'll share it in the Facebook group, so that you feel free to contact him and see what he would like to, how to discuss and such. I was say, where did Art go? He disappeared. That's just fine. So yeah, and I'll let you know what my question is so that viewers can actually look for it on our Facebook page. But the question I do want to ask that you can type or reply later, people can look for is, you can either choose one or the other or both. What is one of your favorite memories when it comes to your Saber journey, and when have you felt most proud along the way? So it's a nice little personal touch, and I think people can watch for that on our Facebook. You can just type the replies in the Facebook chat, because we'll lose the private chat once we close out the studio. But I will save all the information that we've had there so I can share it in our Facebook group just to reference back. So thank you, ladies, so much for coming on the show. I know it's very late for some of you. It's like right now I'm usually heading upstairs with my husband to head to bed, and so Van's bowing to you and thanks. It was a very important, very informative show that a lot of people got to tune in and listen to. So thank you very much, every single one of you. I will name you now one by one. Hi, Chelle, Lady Malice, Jowanna, Melodie, Katie, and Draeda. Draeda, thank you so much for coming on our show and sharing all of your wonderful wisdom. And what I can tell is just like us wanting to, not say us, because I'm not in the community technically, but like the unification of just the love of the sport, despite the different rules and different ways of doing things specifically. So thank you so much. I appreciate every one of you being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
All right, have a good night. Thank you so much, and guys, don't forget to stick around. We have a Saber giveaway to do.
Yeah, don't forget, I want to remind all of our guests here, don't forget to leave a comment in the thing, because I know you've been busy talking. If you leave a comment, the computer picks up your name for the drawing, and you're in the drawing for the NeoPixel. So I want to make sure you guys all get a chance too. All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much. You guys rock.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night. That was kind of a rocking one, huh? I was like, yeah,
definitely
like
rocking
a
out
good bad arse. If you want to say arse, it doesn't fucking impress me as much, but like song to end it on for a great night. So I really enjoyed that. That was really amazing. Like I could have kept going, but I'm like, okay, for time's sake, I'm gonna stop it now, and we'll do like a post of that question for the ladies.
Especially,
later.
look, okay, I just want you guys to know, for those of you in the audience, and we've had a lot of people tune in. In fact, this has been one of our highest viewed shows that we've done. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. There's been a ton of love. But for those of you that don't know, it's like having like the all-star like Hall of Fame of like lady saber fighters all together in one place. So if you don't understand how big tonight was, I'm so excited that we were able to make it happen. And hopefully this won't be the last time we do something like this. This was fantastic.
We even had the conversation we had about some of the things about that women face could be its own show, like just certain topics of what women in the community face could just be a whole show.
There's always room on Kyber K Productions for another show.
More work there.
Please do not forget to like and comment and subscribe. Please let people know about the show. We are trying desperately. Mez and I work so hard to try to, and all of the other producers on Kyber Cave work hard to try to grow this channel. We do original programming 7 days a week. This is just one of them. Then don't forget, we are giving away a NeoPixel tonight.
Yes,
so
we're giving a NeoPixel tonight. Yes, if you'd like to know information about other shows, you can check the description below. Underneath our guest information and the nerdy news links are information about each one of our shows during the week. We have gaming, we have physical health discussion. We have nerdy news kind of stuff on Saturdays where we address about like trailers that came out, video games, movies, all that jazz. And so we have a great variety of different shows. And so please go ahead and give us a subscribe, share the information. We want to share our love of everything that we talk about with everybody. So, guys, we also share all of you. So we have Kevin Hogan, who's actually a producer on this show, and he's been in our comments. And you guys don't realize sometimes how many conventions happen in your area. And he is here in Northern California, and he goes to one every week. It's insane how many he goes to. And
sometimes two.
Yeah, sometimes 2 in a week, and he also lets you know about upcoming ones. So please enjoy this segment by Kevin Hogan.
Hello, this is Kevin Hogan from Northern California with an episode of California Comic-Con Adventures. On the weekend of Saturday, September the 30th, 2023, was Heroes Fest 2023 down in the Fresno, California area. Now, Heroes Fest, as you may have heard, is part of Project Wish Upon a Star. That's the 501c charity organization. Now, it's kind of like a Comic-Con there, where you see lots of cosplayers walking around there. But it's mainly about helping kids there. For example, it helps out all child patients from all organizations with unique STEM and STEAM programs, experiences, and projects that they create there. They're a charity that helps kids fighting situations like cancer. It gives them opportunities to learn, grow, and experience things that help them positively during and after their treatment routines. They help them process by giving them goals and positive opportunities, art, writing skills, even creating or reading graphic novels that enhance their mindset. It shortens and greatly aids in the recovery process. And in doing this, the time spent reflects a more positive perspective, which can reduce the patient's recovery time and treatment outcomes there. So we really appreciate seeing all these cosplayers donating their time to charity there, and we wish Project Wish Upon a Star great luck in their future endeavors there, and hope to see more events in the future.
Also on that same day of Saturday, September 30th, 2023, was Fall Lodi Comic-Con 2023 at the Lodi Great Festival Fairgrounds. Lodi Comic-Con, as you may know, has a couple events every year there, and they are partnered by the same host that does the Stockton Con event there over in Stockton every year there. Now, the Lodi Comic-Con is a great event if you ever get a chance to go there. They have hundreds of people come out to the Great Festival Fairgrounds there. It's hosted by Utility Telecom there. This was their 10th annual event there. They had about 40,000 square feet of exhibition there with 200 booths of vendors there, and artists and various other celebrities there. For example, they had WWE Hall of Famer Kurt Angle there, David Kane from X-Men Animated and Transformers series there, Kellen Goff from My Hero Academia and Five Nights at Freddy's, and various other celebrities there. They had the Cosplay Wrestling Federation there putting on a great show for people there, so it was a great entertainment there. Plus, we got to see a cosplay contest there for all of our local friends to come out there and to show us their fun cosplays that they'd made there. So it was really great there. And plus, kids 12 and under are free with the paid adult there, and admission prices were pretty affordable at just $10 there, plus free parking is always great too there. So if you ever happen to be in the Lodi area, definitely recommend checking out Lodi Comic-Con. Also still ongoing is the Northern California Renaissance Fair. That's been going on mid-September and continues through October 22nd every weekend. There you'll find hundreds of vendors there in their medieval tents there, set up in their village there, with all sorts of medieval themed arts and crafts for sale there. You'll see knights in armor doing live jousting shows on horseback there, and you'll see hundreds and hundreds of costume actors walking around there. There is a parking lot nearby, Casa de Fruta there, where they can park nearby there, and there's themed weekends every weekend there, so cosplay is not required, though it's very fun and encouraged there. So they've had a great time seeing all the different costumes walking around there. For example, on the weekend of September 23rd through the 24th, we saw all sorts of pirates and buccaneers there for Pirate Invasion going on there. September 30th through October the 1st, the Heroes and Villains weekend there. October 7th through the 8th is Oktoberfest. October 14th through 15th is going to be Carnival and Masquerade, and their final weekend, October 21st through the 22nd, is going to be Halloween Fantasy Weekend there. So definitely get your tickets there to check out the Renaissance Fair over in Hollister. On the weekend of Sunday, October the 1st, 2023, was Ohana Comic-Con's visit to Elk Grove, California. Ohana Comic-Con, as you know, travels up and down the state of California every weekend, visiting a different city, hosting another Comic-Con event there. This time they went to Soccer World in Northern California there, so we got to walk around seeing lots of vendors there, selling arts and crafts there and sports memorabilia in one building, and then have the cosplay contest in the afternoon at 2:30 there in the big indoor soccer arena there, so we got to walk around and see that there, so that was neat there. And so it's always convenient there having a snack bar nearby there. And Ohana Comic-Con also hosts events there. They're having free parking nearby, which is also convenient there, often near veterans halls, Moose and Elks lodges, and similar community centers there. And many times their events are very economically priced, with admission less than $10 there. They also have a $1 off coupon if you get the Facebook flyer printed off online there. And also kids 10 and under are free there, so that's convenient there. And so whenever Ohana Comic-Con comes to a town near you, definitely recommend checking them out there. It's a fun thing. And for those of you looking forward to upcoming events there, on the weekend of Saturday, October the 14th, Further Confusion is going to be having its annual picnic. Every spring, the Further Confusion hosts its big furry convention at the San Jose Convention Center, but the fall beforehand, they have a big free picnic at the Lake Chabot Park in Castro Valley. That's going to be Saturday, October the 14th from 11 to 4. And also on October the 14th, Ohana Comic-Con is going to be having one of their fun events over in Manteca. And then Ohana Comic-Con on October the 15th is going to be traveling to Castro Valley from 11 to 4 to have another Comic-Con that same weekend there. And just a reminder, if you didn't get a chance to visit the Renaissance Fair yet this summer, the Northern California Renaissance Fair is continuing every weekend up through October the 22nd, so be sure to get your chance to head down to Hollister. Well, thanks for watching, hope you enjoy the picks, and we'll see you out there at the next Comic-Con.
Thank you, Kevin Hogan, for your report. That was a lot of information and really cool. That I really enjoyed that. Thank you so much, Kevin. I really appreciate you going out and giving us a report every week.
And we still have a bunch of people online. I think I know why. It might be what's in this box.
Oh,
but I do want to thank everybody. Typically, the show runs about an hour and 10, 15 minutes or so. It's not typically this long. So if this is your first time tuning in, don't think that every week it's like a 2-hour long show.
Normally it's about 8:15 p.m. Pacific that we normally end. Normally not this late. But when you have so many wonderful people to speak on screen, you got to give them the time.
This was a special edition show.
Yes. So thank you for those sticking around for us. Now we're going to be having our...
While you're getting that set up, I want to let people know this saber that is going out tonight, this is a big chunk out of my pocket. This is a Star Killer 2. So this is a Canon saber, and this is actually one of my favorites. It just feels so good in the hand. I want to thank TXQ. They are the sponsor of Kyber Cave Rattles when we do the giveaways like this. I want to thank everybody that has hung out with us and has helped grow the channel. We are over 1,500, y'all. We're at 1,504 right now. So hopefully the growth just continues from here, and that all comes with your help. This saber is a NeoPixel saber. It is also an app-controlled saber. Super excited about that. That means you can download an app on your phone, and you can do all the settings and change the colors and change the sounds and do all that without having to memorize all the button configurations, because that can drive a person crazy. But this saber, well, I mean, it's a NeoPixel. That's pretty much all I got to say. I didn't bring the blade on with me, but it does come with the display stand. You put the display stand together. It comes with leather grip if you choose to use so. The instruction booklet, always very important. Always. Comes with a blade plug to put in the end of your blade when you don't have the saber in there. And, of course, the charger, the Allen wrench, all the screws and accessories you need. It comes with the 1-year warranty as well. So if anything goes wrong with this, you just contact us at the Kyber Cave, and we will take care of that for you for free. And if you don't win this tonight, but you still want it, make sure to head over to kybercave.com, and you can pick yours up there.
And if you're actually interested, we have a Patreon that you can actually support. In the top tier, you actually, once you subscribe, I think it's like a 2 or 3 month total. And before the next giveaway, we actually have special giveaways for those tiers. I think it's May that we do those.
Yeah, we do it for
like
May
May
4th
the 4th
every year.
celebration. I mean, come on.
We
So
do
if you would like to
special
check out
Saber giveaways.
yeah, so if you'd like to check out Patreon, I have it in the ticker at the bottom, patreon.com/KyberK Productions. And if you don't want to do the big tier, sure, whatever. But if you'd like to support us, you can support us for as little as $1 a month. So we appreciate that. Thank you very much. Now, let's
Shall we
do this.
the big.
Let's do this.
Who's
I
ready?
don't have the.
Who's ready for a Saber?
I didn't have the music ready. Wait, drum roll. There we go.
Yeah. Oh, who will it be? I see names I recognize. I'm not wearing my glasses right now, so I barely see the names, but I see some of them.
S from London.
Wow.
Holy smokes.
S.
Please get in contact with us because I don't know your name otherwise. We do require our winners to please get in contact with us, and they have a week to do so. So please email kybercave@gmail.com or Kybercave Productions. You can also find our Facebook pages and contact us there.
Messenger is the easiest way that we check that all the time.
Facebook Messenger is consistently checked throughout the day, so please do that. Kybercave Productions@gmail.com. I actually check throughout the day as well, just because I'm crazy like that, and will always check. So that is very, very exciting. So congratulations to OS. I'm actually going to also let Chelle is still in our chat, but I'm not sure if she can hear us. But I will actually let her know in the Facebook chat too, because if she's in the UK, maybe she knows who OS is. So to make sure that they do know that they won the Sabres. So thank you so much, everyone. 1,500 subscribers. We've been working so hard on growing and sharing our love of Sabres and all things Star Wars and all of the other shows that we have going for you.
And all things nerdy in general, I guess.
All things nerdy. We're like nerddom. So guys, our last segment of the show is our TikTok talk of the town. I said TikTok of the town. Talk of the town. We show you some fun Star Wars related TikToks. And when we leave you this week to enjoy our shows, enjoy your life, and have a good night's sleep, especially for those who were up with us super late. We appreciate you sticking around for a very long show.
And
thank you very much.
Great suggestion for a show.
Thank you, Tony. Tony is the one who connected with all these wonderful ladies that were on tonight, and I really appreciate. And then having the faith in me to host it and have all the questions and such. And so, thank you very much. You guys thank you. You guys have a wonderful night, and we'll catch you later. Bye.
Peace.